2 years ago, Securities Commission Malaysia introduced the concept of equity crowdfunding to the investing public. Fast forward to end 2016, a financing framework for peer-to-peer or P2P financing was put in place. In this week's episode of the InvestSmart series brought to you by the Securities Commission, we find out what these investment instruments are and how investors can access them. We talk with the SC's Chan Zong Yang.
Before we talk about ECF, it's probably easier to talk about crowdfunding as a concept. Crowdfunding is a new, innovative way of raising funds for companies by using the power of the internet. We have the donation-based and the rewards-based crowdfunding, which is like Kickstarter or Indiegogo. They give the companies money and they give you some sort of reward. It can be a t-shirt, it can be a camera or whatever. For equity crowdfunding, really, instead of getting a t-shirt, what you're getting is actually shares in the company and you're becoming an investor in the company.
Investing money, getting shares or equity in that company in exchange, it does sound a lot like investing in a public listed firm. Zong explains some key differences.
When you're looking at a company that's listed on Bursa Malaysia, they are really established companies with deep track record and they have been in business for a while. For those companies which are raising on ECF, they really are startups, nascent companies which might not even be generating cash flow yet, even though a lot of them do and have working products or revenue streams. I would say it's a way to get involved in a company at the early stages instead of waiting for until they get listed on Bursa.
Another investment instrument usually talked about within the same sphere as ECF is P2P financing.
Peer-to-peer financing is slightly different in the sense that they are more for established companies who now have cash flow and are able to take on debt. For ECF companies, because you're giving away equity to investors, there's no expectation to repay in 3 to 5 years. As an investor, you're not seeing immediate returns as well. For peer-to-peer financing, because it's a debt-based instrument, once the issuer gets the funding, they are supposed to repay every month. And then through the repayments, the investors will be able to get their money back. So there's more an element of more immediate returns that you see as an investor.
Good news for investors. The Securities Commission has taken steps to provide proper regulated access for these instruments.
For ECF and P2P, we have approved 6 platforms each. It's as simple as going to these platforms. They are all online and some of them even have mobile apps. Signing up as a customer. Obviously, because it's a SC regulated activity, you will need to go through a KYC AML check, know your client, anti-money laundering check. But after that, you'll be able to invest in these companies.
On the part of investors, the advice remains, do your homework. The related documents and information about these companies seeking funding are easily available, so there's really no excuse.
So as part of being listed on one of these equity crowdfunding or peer-to-peer financing platforms, the platforms will need to perform a level of due diligence on these companies in order to assure the investors that these are actually good, decent companies that can be invested in. Typically, you would see documents being uploaded to the platform itself. From a disclosure perspective, they will be able to get the information required in order to make an investment decision.
For added investor security, various other safeguards have also been put in place to minimize risk.
For ECF and peer-to-peer, they are both required to use a trustee company to ensure that the investor monies are not commingled with the monies of the platform, and the monies will only be disbursed if the campaign targets are met. So if the campaign targets are not met, the monies are automatically returned back to the investors. So you prevent the risk of the platforms running away with your money in case something bad happens. For ECF specifically, we do have caps to limit the amount that a normal investor can invest because it's a highly risky instrument. So we have limited the cap for retail investors to 5,000 per deal and up to 50,000 a year.
At the end of the day, just remember, the higher the rewards, the higher the risk. So assess your decisions properly and monitor your investments constantly. This has been the InvestSmart series brought to you by the Securities Commission Malaysia. For the whole series so far, visit investsmartsc.my. BFM, be financially minded.